I sent you that really long tweet that Jake Butt sent out yesterday.
Yeah.
Former Michigan tight end. He was in Lincoln for the practice that Nebraska had yesterday. And Jack, those who don't want to be excited about the 2025 Nebraska football season, I don't know if they're going to like this tweet very much. I don't think that they're going to like this tweet very much.
Couple of things. Number one, the whole BTN thing that they did is that it aired last night. I'm sure they'll keep airing it, but record it if you didn't or watch it. You probably get it on BTN Plus if you don't have that. So I got about half of it done, and then I had some other stuff come up, so I didn't finish it.
Yeah.
Now the only other thing to say is, and we've made these jokes before, right? The BTN, they don't really go in on the BTN thing and say anybody sucks, right? I mean, it is pretty generally positive, right? And why would they, right? They don't. They're getting hosted. They're not going to come in and just really talk about weaknesses. It's about accentuating the positive, and so it's just worth keeping that in mind, as I always do when these folks are there. Now, with all that said, yeah, it fired me up. Yes, 100%.
Yeah, Jake's tweet. It began with essentially a little kind of recap of, well, not really a recap, Jack. He just mentions, hey, Nebraska, what's the story of Nebraska football lately? One score, close games, winning or lack thereof in November, small details. So how do you fix/change that? And he wrote, it's not a massive sweeping change. In fact, it's the opposite. It's a lot of the little things that are going to build up. And so he mentioned that it shows up for the team in a variety of few ways. One of them was involving the offensive line and kind of how they entered onto the field, and how Donovan Raiola, essentially, it was like, whoa, why are you doing it this way? You need to do it with a bit more energy. So I guess I assumed that it was Donovan Raiola. He mentioned coach blows the whistle. He didn't say it was Rule, so I assume it was Raiola. So that was one thing. There was another in terms of how the receivers or running backs were handing the ball or not handing the ball to the officials. Don't toss it to them, hand the ball to them. And that was something apparently that was emphasized. And there was also a moment in the practice where 12 men were on the field. Rule blew the whistle, had them run a gasser. He says, this will be what you want it to be, was a quote from Matt Rule. So emphasizing,
he likes saying that. He says that sort of stuff all the time.
Yeah, but I wanted to read this paragraph, Jack, because I think that this is the part where for those who don't want to be excited, earmuffs, as Chuck said a few moments ago. Most of the key coaching points were small details about situational football. That will decide what season this will be for Nebraska football. It's clear to me they have a top-tier quarterback. Wide receivers are studs. Offensive line looks lean, strong, deep. They'll be better. Defensive secondary is deep and experienced. They have plenty of talent combined with the schedule to be very much in the hunt for a playoff spot. But they are not built to blow out most of the teams on the schedule. Meaning, expect close games. Small details, focus, communication, execution will separate Nebraska or someone else from the pack. Excited to watch this team. Will be amazing and electrifying. Whenever the day comes for Nebraska to host a playoff game, remains to be seen if that will be this year or not. Jack, how you feeling?
I need
how you feeling?
I am very excited. Anyway, yeah, forget all that shit I just said a few minutes ago about take this with a grain of salt. Let's go.
Yeah.
Wow. He really was effusive, wasn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Really was effusive. And in watching it, the show, or at least the first half of it that I did, man, listen, I get it. Look, you don't need to tell me that sometime hype turns into disappointment, okay? But that's okay. I like the feeling of hype. I like how it makes, me tingle. So I am gonna embrace the hype. I know others don't, but I it fuels me. I enjoy it. It makes me happy. And especially, Josh, you know which one's making me tingle the most this year? Oh, that offensive line talk. And it's starting to, you guys hit on it with me on your show yesterday. And then I watched this thing last night, and there they are again talking about the Jimbo Moore Award or whatever that made up thing
so weird.
is.
I like how you and John tried to make me feel bad for knowing something about college football that everybody who watches college football knows about. Pretty wild. Anybody who knows something about college football knows about the Joe Moore Award. Again, I thought you liked football. I thought you knew ball, Jack.
I
and,
do. We're
and
going to
today-
talk about that.
t-
I don't
today
know
learned-
awards, Josh. I'll tell you that. Awards have gotten
Really?
out of control.
You never heard of the Heisman Trophy?
I'm very familiar with the awards that were given out in 1988. Yes. Very familiar with those.
Interesting.
But in any case, I'm not trying to demean the offensive line through that. I just didn't know that award was a thing, and I still kind of don't. But Rocco, all
You're
those
starting
guys,
to get excited about the
I'm
offensive
starting
line.
to get excited about that. And then I heard Emmett Johnson and Dylan Raiola talk about him, and those guys. I mean, listen, you say what you want about those guys, but they're pretty good hype men. And I'm just excited about the whole kind of sort of buddy comedy movie that Emmett Johnson and Dylan Raiola is. And I just want those two to succeed. And they're like best friends, but they're also really good in interviews. And I don't know. I'm just excited, man. I don't know. The offensive line thing is like, they're doing a good job of getting my ceiling, like raising the possible ceiling on my thoughts about the offensive line.
Yeah.
And I guess the question is, and this goes to the question that you asked me on your show yesterday, which was like, well, like how, I can't remember what, actually, I don't know. What
Are you talking about the Spindler question? The one where I said,
have
you allowed yourself to think that the offensive line won't just be good, but could be a strength?
Yes. Basically that. And my answer to that has just been, well, like, we know who a bunch of those guys on the offensive line are because they've had tons of experience, you know? And so there's not really going to be a surprise. I think there's probably room to grow for Gatula, and if Prohaska would stay healthy, he could have some significant room to grow. But, you know, I think Lutovsky and Corcoran, you know, they're pretty established in who they are. But it's just like, if you combine all of that sort of depth and experience with the two transfers coming in, and the transfers being really good, that's when it explodes to me. If you get the best out of that experience group, you combine them with those two guys and Evans and probably Lutovsky, and then whoever that next tackle is, pick the best one out of that whole group to be the other tackle. And that, like, again, it's a ceiling thing that wasn't there before. And that's what this whole team is. And maybe it always is that. Maybe I'm just realizing this is what we say at the beginning of every year, but I feel like there's a ceiling on the offensive line that there wasn't before. And it's primarily because of that transfer class.